She said, "I can't have children." The cowboy smiled. "Good, I've got enough kids for both." Cole's boots crunched against the reddish soil of Red Mesa. The wind carried the smell of dry grass and the faint tang of the planet's strange metallic rocks. His 3 children rode behind him, their small forms bundled in worn jackets that flapped in the breeze. Cole had come to this distant frontier world to start over, to claim a ranch he could call his own, and maybe find a little peace for himself and his kids. The ranch had been abandoned for years, and most of the locals avoided it, whispering stories of strange happenings and ghosts. Cole didn't believe in ghosts, but he respected caution. As they rode up the dusty path, Cole noticed the ruins of what had once been a solid farmhouse. The roof sagged, the paint was peeled and faded, and one of the walls had a gaping hole. Yet, despite its ruined state, the ranch had a strange charm, as if it had been waiting for someone to bring it back to life. His youngest, Ella, peered out from behind her brother, Mick, and whispered, "Is someone living there?" Cole shook his head. "Not anymore, sweetheart, looks empty, but we'll see." He dismounted and led the children inside. The floorboards creaked under their weight, and dust rose in lazy clouds. The walls were lined with shelves, most of them broken or empty, but they hinted at a home once filled with life. Cole ran his hand over the rough wood of the counter. "This place has history," he said softly, "and maybe it has a future too." Outside, the wind carried the faint hum of machinery, though no machines were visible. Cole paused, listening carefully. The hum faded, leaving only the sound of wind through the broken windows. He shrugged. "Must be the wind playing tricks." As they explored, Cole noticed a small garden near the edge of the property. The soil had been tilled recently, and strange green shoots pushed their way through the dirt. It was unusual to see anything growing here, and even more unusual to see someone taking care of it. He walked closer and spotted footprints in the soft soil. Human footprints, but they were light and careful, as if the owner of the ranch didn't want to be noticed. Cole's hand went to the gun at his hip. He didn't expect trouble, but he was always prepared. "Stay close," he told the children. A soft voice floated toward them from the garden. "I wasn't expecting anyone." Cole turned and saw a woman standing among the plants. She was tall, with hair the color of sun-bleached wheat and eyes that held a quiet strength. She wore simple clothes, practical for working outside, but they fit her with a natural elegance. The children stared, wide-eyed, unsure of what to think. "I'm Cole," he said, raising a hand in greeting. "I just bought this ranch. I'm moving in with my kids." The woman's lips curved into a small smile. "I'm Leora. I didn't think anyone would come back here. Most people avoid this place." Cole studied her carefully. There was something cautious in her posture, something that said she had been hurt before. "Looks like we both got a second chance," he said quietly. "I mean no harm, just want a place to live and raise my kids." Leora nodded slowly. "I can't have children," she said after a pause, her voice soft. "I've tried, but it's not possible. I live here mostly alone, taking care of what I can." Cole's lips curved into a small smile. "Good. I've got enough kids for both," he said simply, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The words weren't cruel or thoughtless, they were honest. He had a full household already, and he knew family came in many forms. Leora's eyes widened slightly at the statement, but she didn't speak. There was a pause, filled only with the sound of the wind and the faint hum that had returned, now lower and steadier. Cole gestured toward the barn. "You're welcome to join us for dinner." "My kids are a little shy at first, but they're good kids." She hesitated, then nodded. I'll stay a while, but I'm not much company." Cole chuckled softly. "Company is company, that's all that matters." As they moved toward the barn, the children's curiosity overcame their shyness. Mick peeked around Cole and whispered, "Are you going to be our neighbor?" Leora glanced at the boy and smiled. "I suppose I'll be helping out." Inside the barn, Cole set a small fire in an old metal stove. He took out some dried meat and canned vegetables, making a simple meal. Leora watched quietly, then pulled some of her own vegetables from her bag and added them to the stew. The children watched the two adults work together, impressed by the calm efficiency in their movements. By the time the sun dipped behind the red cliffs, the barn was warm and the smell of cooking filled the air. Leora sat across from Cole, watching him interact with the children. She noticed how gently he spoke to them, how patiently he answered their questions, and how much love he carried quietly without boasting. It was a stark contrast to the rumors she had heard of frontier men being rough and uncaring. After dinner, Cole and Leora stepped outside. The sky was painted in deep shades of red and orange, the alien moons beginning to rise. The wind carried the hum of distant machines again, but this time it sounded like a lullaby. "You've got a lot of responsibility," Leora said softly, looking at the children playing in the dirt, their laughter filling the quiet air. Cole nodded. "I do, but it's worth it." "Every bit of it," he glanced at her. "And it's nice having someone else here, someone who understands what work is, what patience is." Leora didn't answer right away. She was considering the life she had lived, the isolation she had endured, and the sudden, unexpected presence of this man and his children. There was a spark of something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. As night fell, the children settled into makeshift beds in the barn loft, while Cole and Leora sat by the fire, talking quietly about the ranch, the strange machinery they had discovered, and the life they hoped to build here. The hum of the machines continued in the distance, a reminder that Red Mesa was alive with secrets yet to be uncovered. Cole looked at Leora and said softly, "We'll make it work. You'll see. This place, it has room for both of us." Leora nodded, a small, genuine smile forming. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to imagine a life that wasn't lonely. A life with laughter, children, work, and someone she could trust. Outside, the wind whispered through the broken windows, and the stars of Red Mesa shone like distant fires. The ranch had a long way to go before it was a home, but with Cole, his children, and now Leora, it had a chance. A real chance. And as the night deepened, the hum beneath the soil continued, a soft, steady vibration that promised mystery, adventure, and the beginning of something new. The next morning, the Red Mesa sun rose slowly, casting a soft red glow over the ranch. Cole's children were already awake, their small hands brushing against the alien soil as they explored the edges of the property. Cole brewed coffee over the stove, while Leora tended to the small garden she had claimed the previous day. Though the soil was dry and tough, she had a way with plants, and already tiny green sprouts pushed toward the sky. "Good morning," Cole said, holding out a cup of steaming coffee. Leora took it, her hands warm from the metal mug. She nodded at the children who were chasing a small, native rodent that scuttled among the rocks. "They're lively," she said softly. Cole smiled. "They have to be. Life here, it doesn't wait for anyone. You either move with it or get left behind." Leora looked at him, her eyes thoughtful. She had lived alone for years, managing her tiny section of the land, avoiding contact with the few settlers who had long since abandoned the planet's outer edges. Yet with Cole and his children, she felt a strange comfort, a sense of family she had thought she would never have. After breakfast, Cole handed her a toolkit. "I'm fixing the old windmill today. It hasn't worked in years. Could use a second pair of hands." Leora nodded, rolling up her sleeves. "I've never fixed a windmill," she admitted, "but I can learn." The two of them worked in silence for a while, the hum of the alien wind brushing across the blades above. Cole showed her how to tighten bolts, adjust the gears, and check the alignment. Her hands were steady, her focus sharp. He found himself impressed by how quickly she adapted to the work. Meanwhile, the children explored nearby, collecting colorful rocks and examining strange, small creatures that scuttled across the red dirt. Mick, the oldest, tried to imitate Cole's movements, climbing small rocks and helping shift tools, while Ella and the youngest, Toby, giggled as they chased each other in circles. As the afternoon sun climbed higher, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. Red Mesa was prone to sudden storms, and the wind began to whip across the flat plains. Cole and Leora paused to glance at the sky. "Storm's coming," Cole said. "We need to secure the barn and the garden." Together they moved quickly, gathering the children and fastening shutters on the windows. The wind picked up speed, howling across the plains, carrying the faint metallic tang of the planet's rocks. Dust swirled around them, and the children huddled close to Cole, their small bodies trembling with excitement and fear. Once the barn was secure, Leora led the children inside, showing them how to stack supplies and create a safe corner with blankets and pillows. Cole watched her, feeling a deep sense of relief. She had a natural ability to take control, to organize, and to calm the kids. It was a rare gift. The storm hit with full force a few minutes later. Red Mesa's wind twisted and tore at the ranch, rattling the walls and sending small rocks skittering across the soil. Inside the barn, Cole lit a lantern, casting a warm glow over the small group. The children pressed close to him, listening to the winds roar outside. Leora moved among them, checking their blankets and offering soft words of reassurance. "Don't worry," she said, her voice calm and steady. "This barn is strong. We'll be fine." Cole glanced at her, a small smile playing on his lips. "I think you were made for this place," he said softly. Hours passed, and slowly the storm began to wane. The wind still howled, but the rain had stopped. Cole ventured outside, checking the fence lines and the garden. He found that, thanks to Leora's careful preparation, the plants had survived. Even the windmill, which they had been repairing earlier, had held firm against the gusts. When he returned, the children were asleep, cuddled up with Leora and blankets. She had sat with them, reading aloud from a worn book she had found in the ruins of the house. Cole watched quietly, feeling the warmth of a family slowly forming around him. Later, as night settled over Red Mesa, Cole and Leora stepped outside. The storm had left the soil dark and rich, glistening in the light of the twin moons. The air was still, save for the faint hum of the wind through the distant machinery buried beneath the ground. "You handled that well," Cole said, breaking the silence. Leora shrugged, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "I've had practice surviving alone, but it's different with others depending on you," Cole nodded. "That's the hard part, but it's also the best part. Having someone to protect, someone to care for, makes life worth living." Leora looked at him, feeling a warmth she had not known in years. She thought of her past, years of isolation, of lost hope, of believing she would never belong anywhere. Yet here, in the middle of a storm on a strange frontier world, she felt needed. She felt part of something. The next morning, the sun rose again, bright and fiery. Cole and Leora worked together to repair the barn roof, patching holes left by the storm. The children followed, helping as best they could, carrying nails and small tools, their laughter echoing across the plains. Cole watched them, feeling proud. His family was growing, not in number, but in strength and love. As the day went on, Cole noticed something unusual, a faint vibration beneath the soil. He paused, pressing his hand to the ground. Leora knelt beside him, listening as well. The hum was subtle, almost imperceptible, but persistent. "What is that?" Leora asked, her eyes wide. Cole shook his head. "Not sure. Could be some old machinery buried under the ranch or something else. We'll have to investigate." The discovery sparked a new curiosity. Cole and Leora decided to explore the old cellar beneath the house. The entrance was hidden beneath a loose floorboard, and as they descended, the hum grew louder. Inside, the walls were lined with strange alien markings, faintly glowing in the dim light. Leora stepped forward, brushing her hand over the markings. They're old, very old, maybe left by the first settlers or something before them." Cole's mind raced. He had bought this ranch for its simplicity, to give his children a stable life, not to uncover ancient secrets. Yet now, with Leora by his side, he felt ready for whatever might lie ahead. That evening, as they returned to the barn, Cole and Leora shared a quiet meal. The children had fallen asleep, exhausted from the day's adventures. They sat together in silence for a moment, the fire casting shadows across their faces. "I never expected this," Leora said softly. "A home, children, and someone who trusts me enough to be part of it." Cole smiled. "Life has a way of surprising you, you just have to be ready to take it." She nodded, feeling a deep sense of belonging. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to imagine a future, a life with Cole, his children, and the ranch. It was a simple life, yet full of promise. Outside, Red Mesa's twin moons rose high, casting a silvery glow across the plains. The hum beneath the soil continued, faint but steady, a reminder that this world held secrets yet to be discovered. Cole and Leora watched the moons, feeling the weight of the day, the storm, and the possibilities of tomorrow. In that quiet moment, they understood something important. Family was more than blood. It was trust, care, and courage. And together they could face whatever Red Mesa had in store. As the night deepened, Cole placed a hand on Leora's shoulder. "We're going to be all right," he said, "no matter what comes next." Leora smiled, leaning slightly into his shoulder. "Yes," she whispered. "We will be all right." The wind whispered across the plains, carrying the faint hum of the buried machinery, a promise of adventure, mystery, and the beginning of a family bound by more than just circumstance. Red Mesa's twin moons hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the ranch. Cole stood near the windmill, his eyes scanning the horizon. For days, the faint hum beneath the soil had grown louder, vibrating through the ground and rattling the barn windows. He had spent hours trying to locate the source, Yet the deeper he probed, the stranger it became. "This is bigger than I thought," he muttered to Leora as she joined him, carrying tools and a small lantern. Her eyes were bright with curiosity, and her fingers itched to explore the hidden mysteries that Cole had uncovered. "What do you think it is?" she asked, placing a hand on the metal frame of the windmill for balance. Cole shook his head. "Not sure, could be old machines or something left behind long before the settlers. Either way, it's powerful." The children were in the barn, practicing their chores and keeping the small livestock safe. Mick had taken to checking the water barrels, while Ella and Toby helped sort the tools. Despite the looming mystery, life at the ranch carried on. The routine gave them a sense of normalcy, and for Cole, that was everything. By mid-morning, Cole and Leora had gathered ropes, lanterns, and basic excavation tools. They approached the cellar beneath the farmhouse, the entrance hidden beneath the loose floorboard. Cole lifted the board with surprising ease, and they carefully descended into the narrow passage. The hum resonated stronger here, as if something beneath the soil was aware of their presence. The walls of the cellar were lined with more alien markings, faintly glowing in patterns neither of them could recognize. Leora traced her fingers along the symbols, marveling at their intricacy. "These aren't just markings," she whispered. "They're instructions, maybe for activating something." Cole studied the ground, noticing small mechanical panels partially buried beneath dust and soil. "Looks like whoever built this knew more about machinery than the settlers around here," he said. "Maybe something they left behind." A sudden clatter echoed from above, startling them. Cole drew his revolver, careful but calm. "Stay here," he whispered. He climbed back up to the main floor, and Leora followed close behind. Outside, they discovered a group of strangers approaching the ranch. Cole recognized the shapes instantly, rogue miners from the outer settlements, known for claiming lands with valuable resources by force. The men were armed with crude energy rifles, and their leader, a tall man with a jagged scar across his face, motioned them forward. Cole signaled to Leora and his children to stay inside. "Lock the doors," he ordered. Then he faced the intruders. "This is private property." "Leave now and no one gets hurt," he called, his voice steady. The leader laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Private property out here? You're alone, old man. Step aside and we'll take what's beneath this land." Cole's jaw tightened. He had no intention of backing down. The ranch had taken everything he had to rebuild, and he wouldn't let it fall into greedy hands. He gestured for Leora to stand by him, knowing she was resourceful and brave. The miners advanced, stepping cautiously over the uneven ground. Cole had prepared for this possibility. He had spent days setting simple traps and checking the terrain for strategic advantage. The first miner tripped over a camouflaged wire, dropping his rifle and tumbling into the dirt. Cole seized the opportunity, firing a warning shot that cracked against a rock, startling the group. Leora moved swiftly, activating a small device she had found in the cellar earlier. A low, resonant pulse emitted from it, causing the nearest machines carried by the miners to flicker and malfunction. Sparks flew, and a few men cursed loudly as their rifles short-circuited. Cole advanced cautiously, using the terrain to his advantage. His revolver was precise, and every movement was calculated. The children watched from a hidden corner, wide-eyed but safe. Mick whispered, "He's like a hero from the stories." As the confrontation escalated, the leader realized their technological advantage was failing. Cole's knowledge of the land, combined with Leora's quick thinking, created a barrier the intruders could not overcome. The miners hesitated, unsure if they should continue the fight. Cole's eyes met Leora's. He nodded subtly, signaling her to take initiative. She activated the hum-emitting panel in the cellar once more. The vibrations surged through the ground, disorienting the intruders and forcing them to retreat. Dust swirled around the landing, and when it cleared, the miners were gone, leaving their broken equipment behind. Cole exhaled, lowering his revolver. Leora stood beside him, her chest heaving slightly from the adrenaline. "I didn't think it would work," she admitted. Cole smiled faintly. "You have a way of making things work when it counts. That's why this place and these kids are lucky to have you." Later, as the ranch settled into quiet again, Cole checked on his children. Ella clung to Leora, while Mick and Toby helped Cole repair minor damage around the barn. There was a sense of relief and pride in their small family. They had faced danger together, and they had survived. As night fell, Cole and Leora sat outside, the alien stars bright above them. The hum beneath the soil persisted, steady and faint, reminding them that Red Mesa was full of mysteries. Leora leaned against Cole, feeling the comfort of safety and trust. "You think the hum will ever stop?" she asked softly. Cole shook his head. "I don't know. But it doesn't scare me, not with you here." Leora smiled, a small, genuine expression. "I didn't think I'd find a place where I belong until now." Cole reached for her hand, holding it gently. "Family isn't just about blood," he said quietly. "It's about trust, care, and courage, and you've proven all of that today." The children were asleep inside, their breathing calm and even. The ranch, though battered from the confrontation, stood strong. Cole and Leora watched the twin moons rise high, casting silvery light over the plains, and felt a deep connection to the land and each other. Even as they stood in the quiet night, the hum beneath the ground hinted at more challenges to come. Cole and Leora knew they would face them together. The ranch was no longer just a place to live. It was a home, a fortress, and a puzzle waiting to be solved. By the next morning, the ranchers were busy once more. Cole repaired fences, checked the animals, and ensured the property was secure. Leora taught the children basic survival skills, how to recognize safe plants, how to navigate the rocky plains, and how to spot the first signs of storms. Each lesson built confidence, both in the children and in Leora herself. The hum beneath the soil had become almost comforting, a reminder of the strange, unpredictable world they had chosen to inhabit. Cole and Leora continued their investigation, uncovering more of the buried panels and strange devices. They worked side by side, combining Cole's knowledge of the land with Leora's mechanical intuition. By the end of the day, they had mapped a section of the underground machinery, discovering patterns and possible uses. Cole was cautious, but he also felt excitement. The ranch was not just a home. It was a place of discovery, of adventure, and of unexpected opportunity. As night fell once more, Cole and Leora sat together, the children asleep in the loft above. The twin moons reflected on the plains, the air calm and cool. Cole turned to Leora and whispered, "We've survived the storm and the intruders. We can survive anything together." Leora nodded, squeezing his hand. "Yes, together." Red Mesa was alive with mystery, but for the first time, Cole and Leora felt that they were exactly where they were meant to be. With children, courage, and trust, they had become a family, and nothing could break that bond. The sun rose over Red Mesa, painting the desert plains in soft shades of red and gold. Cole stood at the edge of the ranch, watching his children run freely among the alien rocks and scrub grass. Mick raced ahead, balancing on uneven stones, while Ella and Toby chased after a small native creature that hopped nimbly across the ground. Leora moved behind them, carrying a basket of harvested vegetables, her eyes soft with affection as she watched the children laugh and play. Cole had spent the past days securing the ranch and continuing their exploration of the strange machinery buried beneath the soil. Each new panel or device uncovered another layer of mystery, but also an opportunity to understand the land they had chosen. He had grown accustomed to the hum beneath the ground, finding comfort in its steady rhythm. It reminded him that Red Mesa was alive, full of secrets waiting to be discovered, and that he and his family were a part of it. After breakfast, Cole and Leora set out toward the cellar entrance once more. The children followed cautiously, carrying small lanterns and supplies. "Be careful," Cole said, ruffling Mick's hair. "Stay close and watch your step." Leora smiled at the children. "You're going to help us today, but remember, safety comes first." The cellar was quiet when they entered, the faint hum from beneath the soil now a constant presence. Cole and Leora had spent the past few days mapping the underground machinery, noting patterns and symbols that suggested a purpose beyond anything they had initially imagined. The panels seemed to form a network, connected by wires and channels that extended far beneath the ranch. "I think we're close to understanding it," Cole said, examining one of the larger panels. "There's a sequence here like it's waiting for something to activate it." Leora knelt beside him, her fingers tracing the glowing symbols. "It's like a puzzle," she said. "If we get it right, it could do something important, maybe control energy or water flow across the plains." That would explain why the miners were after this land. They knew something was hidden here. Mick leaned forward, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Can we see it work?" Cole shook his head with a grin. "Patience, kid. First, we need to make sure it's safe." Hours passed as they carefully adjusted the panels, aligning wires and calibrating the devices. The children watched with fascination, asking questions and learning from both Cole and Leora. Even Toby, the youngest, mimicked their movements, placing small stones along the edges of the panels to mark patterns. Finally, with a deep breath, Leora pressed a final sequence on the main panel. The hum beneath the ground grew stronger, vibrating through their feet and echoing up the walls of the cellar. Light pulsed along the wires, and a low mechanical whir began to fill the air. The machinery, long dormant, was awakening. Cole and Leora exchanged a glance, a mix of awe and apprehension. "It worked," Cole whispered. Suddenly, a column of water shot from a hidden spout in the center of the cellar, filling a basin and then flowing through a channel that extended outside. The ranch's garden, previously struggling in the dry soil, was instantly refreshed, plants standing taller and greener. Leora's eyes widened in surprise. "It's providing water," Mick cheered, running forward. "We did it, we made it work," Cole laughed, ruffling his son's hair. "Not just us, all of us together." The children helped redirect the flow of water to other parts of the ranch, creating small irrigation channels that would sustain crops and livestock. The energy from the machinery seemed clean and endless, a hidden gift beneath the soil that Cole and Leora had unlocked. That evening, as the twin moons rose, casting silvery light over the ranch, Cole and Leora stood outside the barn, watching the children play near the newly watered fields. The hum from beneath the soil had quieted, leaving a steady, soothing vibration in the ground. "You did amazing today," Cole said, turning to Leora. "You not only helped protect this place, but you also unlocked something incredible." Leora smiled softly. "I just followed your lead. You trusted me and the children, and we all worked together." "That's what made it possible." Cole reached for her hand, holding it gently. "You've become part of this family, Leora, not because you can have children, but because you care, because you're brave, and because you belong here, with us." Leora's eyes glistened in the moonlight. "I never thought I'd find a place where I belong," she whispered. "But now I do, with you and them." She gestured toward the children playing nearby, laughing and chasing each other. Cole nodded. "Family isn't just about blood, it's about love, trust, and courage. And you've shown all of that." Over the next weeks, life at the ranch settled into a rhythm. Cole taught the children how to tend the livestock, repair fences, and understand the strange alien wildlife around Red Mesa. Leora continued to manage the garden and explore the underground machinery, gradually mapping out the full system. The ranch flourished, crops thriving under the new irrigation channels, and the children's laughter filled every corner of the property. One afternoon, while repairing the fence near the edge of the plains, Cole and Leora spotted movement in the distance. A small group of settlers approached, drawn by the hum of the underground machinery and the sight of the thriving ranch. Cole called out, waving, and the settlers cautiously approached. "Hello," Cole said, keeping his voice steady. "This is private property, but we can talk." The leader, a middle-aged man with a friendly but cautious expression, nodded. "We've heard about this place, the water, the land. We didn't mean any trouble. We just wanted to see if we could trade, maybe help each other." Cole and Leora exchanged a glance. Trust would have to be earned, but these settlers seemed sincere. "We could use help in some areas," Cole admitted. "But the land and the machinery, that stays with us." "Agreed," the man nodded. "Agreed, we can work together, share knowledge, and keep the ranch safe." As the settlers helped repair fences and strengthen the barn, Cole realized how far they had come. What had started as a simple ranch for a man and his children had become a thriving community, a place of trust, learning, and discovery. That night, the children sat by the fire, listening to Cole and Leora recount the day's events. Mick laughed as he described how he had helped redirect water channels, while Ella and Toby marveled at the glowing underground panels. Cole and Leora watched them, hearts full, knowing that these moments were building memories that would last a lifetime. "You've changed everything here," Cole said softly to Leora after the children had gone to bed. "Not just the ranch, but all of us." Leora smiled, leaning into him. "And you've given me something I thought I'd never have, a home, a family, purpose." Cole kissed her forehead gently. "We'll face whatever comes next together. Red Mesa has secrets, yes, but with courage and care we can handle anything." Days turned into weeks, and the ranch continued to thrive. Cole, Leora, and the children explored more of the surrounding land, discovering small canyons, hidden springs, and alien wildlife that tested their skills and patience. The underground machinery became a source of energy for the ranch, powering lights, water pumps, and small tools. Cole marveled at the ingenuity of whoever had left it behind, grateful that Leora had the skill and courage to unlock its secrets. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the plains in fiery red and gold, Cole watched Leora and the children laugh as they played near the water channels. He felt a deep sense of peace. The ranch was no longer a challenge or a burden. It was a home. A home built on trust, courage, and love. Leora turned to him, her eyes reflecting the twin moons. "We've done something good here," she said. "Not just for us, but for anyone who comes after." Cole nodded, smiling. "Yes, and it's only the beginning. Red Mesa has more to show us, and we'll face it together. As a family." The wind whispered across the plains, carrying the faint hum of the underground machinery. It was a sound of life, of secrets, and of endless possibilities. Cole, Leora, and the children stood together, looking out at their thriving ranch, knowing that no matter what mysteries lay beneath or dangers appeared above, they had each other, and that was enough. As the night deepened, the twin moons glimmered over the Red Mesa plains, casting silver light on the family who had found trust, courage, and love in a distant, rugged world. For the first time, Cole and Leora truly believed that they were home. And in that quiet, glowing moment, the hum beneath the soil seemed almost to whisper a promise. Adventure, discovery, and a family that would face it all together.